Last question of the series, and it's a big one. How do I move beyond my hurt from the church? Let me just say this. All of us have it. I've been in the church long enough to be hurt in the church, but I may have even hurt some of you. I apologize. We're humans. We're not perfect. It's just the reality. But it's a growing reality. The number of Americans ages 18 to 29 who have no religious affiliation has nearly quadrupled in the last 30 years. That's a problem. And part of that's due to the fact that 59% of millennials raised in the church have dropped out. 59%. And right now, there are 35 million youth raised in families that call themselves Christians, that by 2050, they will not call themselves Christians. Now, some people will say, well, it's a theological issue. I believe in Darwinian evolution, not the God of creation. Or maybe I just can't believe in a God that would allow pain and suffering in the world. Or I can't believe in that superstitious miracles, resurrection, Jonah being swallowed by. I just don't swallow that. I don't think it's a theological issue. I think the issue really is the slide of the credibility of the church over the past 40 years. It has more to do with hypocrisy than any heroic stand for the truth. Listen to what Jesus had to say about this hypocrisy. And these were the leaders of the synagogue or his church. He said, "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You shut the door of the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. You yourselves do not enter, nor will you let those enter who are trying to enter. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You travel over land and sea to win a single convert. And when you've succeeded, you make them twice as much a child of hell as you are. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You give 1/10 of your spices, mint, dill, and cumin, but you've neglected the more important matters of the law, justice, mercy, and faithfulness. You should have practiced the latter without neglecting the former. You blind guides! You strain out a gnat but swallow a camel. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. Blind Pharisees! First clean the inside of the cup and dish, and then the outside will be clean. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You're like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are full of the bones of the dead and everything unclean. In the same way, on the outside, you appear to people as righteous, but on the inside, you're full of hypocrisy and wickedness. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You build tombs for the prophets and decorate the graves of the righteous. And you say, if we had lived in the days of our ancestors, we would not have taken part with them in shedding the blood of the prophets. Whoa, that's pretty heavy. I think Jesus would agree with a lot of people who have been hurt in the church that they're hypocrites. Where he would disagree is that you abandon the church because of hypocrites in it. Look, there's always going to be hypocrites in the church because we're human. And if I've ever offended one of you or hurt you, I genuinely am sorry. That's not my heart. I know that's not Ashley's heart. And I want to tell you from behind the scenes that the leaders of this church on all our campuses, we go to extraordinary efforts to protect each other and hold each other accountable to not live a hypocritical life that would cause pain. But if we're human, that's ultimately inevitable. The question is, what do you do with that pain? Can you get past your past hurt to be present with people who really need the body of Christ? Look, never before have we needed community more than we do now. And today, people have lost confidence in the church because of the bad behavior of church leaders. And a lot of that is like financial or sexual abuse scandals. We can be judgmental towards the poor and the powerless, but put up with words and actions of the rich and powerful that betray the principles of Christ. That's worth talking about. And what I want you to talk about in your group is not what necessarily others have done to you, or if that's a hurt, a pain you need to get off your chest, talk about that. But I'd really rather you talk about how you can protect yourself from hurting others by prioritizing things that are not God's priorities, by loving people well. That is our greatest apologetic for the church. In a generation that is deconstructing their faith, I want to remember, and I hope you remember, what Jesus said. They will know you're Christians by our love.